What's going on? KG here. Welcome to my channel. If you're new and you like business and that sort of thing, definitely subscribe to see more videos like this. Today I'm talking about Lightroom, and I'm actually going to go through a walkthrough on how I edit my wedding photography so you can have a photo that looks like this. You can turn it into making it look like this. A lot of people think that photo editing can get very technical, which yes, it can depending on the project that you're working on, but keeping it a simple, streamlined process is usually the best workflow, especially if you're doing multiple or thousands of photos, especially in wedding photography. So if you are new here and you don't know, Crystal and I, we own a wedding photography business. It turned out this to be a hobby that we did way back in the day. We got a couple clients doing couples, maternity, and the next thing you know, it turned into wedding photography. We love what we do. We love taking amazing photos for our clients, and especially in the wedding industry. It's been a blessing. And with that, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get right into Lightroom for you. All right, guys, so we are here in Lightroom. I have 8 photos that are cold. All we need to do is go through and edit them. So we're gonna go ahead and get started into this. So over here off to the left, these are a bunch of random presets that we have. I need to do a better job at organizing these, but we're gonna go ahead and click through. I think I do have one that I'm going to land on. It seems like it's been a good one. So let's go ahead and start here. This is a black and white one. We just call it the AAA. Another black and white one. I probably will use these as a second option. I always like to give color, and then I also like to give black and white versions just depending on the picture. I just like to throw this in there just as added value for our clients. As you can tell, that one is a pretty cool look, but it's definitely over processed. You can tell it's been edited. We're trying to go with more a natural look, a natural feel. So we're gonna keep going on. That one's pretty cool, but you can kind of tell in the sky, the blue area, it looks over processed. You can see the banding there with the blue. Kit Kawanda looks like barely anything's changed it. As you can tell, there's my baby in the background making noises. You can see that you do have more definition in the sunflower right there in the middle of the picture. And scroll down. I think the one that we're going to land on here is a warm field. So first things first, I need to go over here. I need to crop this image. We have it as shot, but I always like to go to original, which gives me the whole image. And you can kind of tell that it's a little off-centered here. There's too much of a gap here compared to this side, and that looks pretty good there. Now the other thing is the actual color here. It's a little oversaturated than I'd like, especially in the greens and the yellows. I tend to go for more of like a pastel-y kind of look. So we're gonna come over here and we're gonna scroll down to vibrance and saturation. I'm going to bring the saturation down just to see what that looks like. So I'm just gonna hover over the toggle here and hit down, and that's literally just gonna bump it down. So I'm getting more of a muted look in the color, so it's not so overpowering. And then we can do the before, and that's the after. It looks pretty good. You can definitely tell that this image is very warm. It's warm here, even in the green up here. You can tell here it's very blue, right? So a warm photo is always a good photo. It's easy for people to like a warm photo. So the other thing that we can do is it's a little dark. You kind of see it's just a little dark in here, and it kind of shows it up here as well. So we're going to scroll up here. I'm going to hit the exposure up probably a couple clicks, because it was a bright afternoon, and I don't think this picture is really showing it justice of how bright it was. And I might just go a little extra on this one and just really make it pop, and it's actually helping the color out quite a bit. So pretty happy with that there. And then the texture, I might even bring this one up just a little bit, just so we get more of the cool looking detail here in the flower. All right, and the last thing that I always like to check is the sharpening, which it looks like it's already set with this preset, which is no surprise. But what we want to do is hit Alt, and we want to click on this toggle here, and you kind of see all the white. That's what's going to be sharpened or in focus, I guess you could say. So if I go this way, that means there is everything. You can tell white is sharpened, right? Which we don't want. What we want to do is sharpen the lines of certain things. And as you see, as I go over here, now just the vase is basically sharpened. That's what we really want. That's going to make it pop and really gonna make those flowers stand out. So we're gonna go right about there because we want it to be completely one side to the other. So we're gonna let it go. As you can kind of tell, this definitely is standing out now from the background. And so again, before and after, and that's the first image that is done. We're gonna move on to the next one. Now, to really save time and make this a lot more efficient, as I always like to hit previous, and this is literally going to use the last thing that I did in the last image, and it just helps. And sometimes it's a good foundation to start with, and also it's going to make all your photos look very similar in style and aesthetic, right? You don't want photos that look completely like one editing style and then you have different editing styles within the portfolio. It just looks really weird and tacky, and we just try to stick with one theme. So we're gonna hit previous, and that worked out really well. It definitely warmed up the bride, warmed up the groom. You can tell instantly. See how it's it's bluer, right? And then hit that, and it seems like you're there, and it's like a sunset. This is great. We have a lens flare, which I really like that style. We just want to check how I cropped it here, and that's not bad. I do kind of want to do this, and I might even go like this. Let's see here. And probably like right about there. I want this to be more of an intimate shot of the actual bride and groom. I might just bring it down there. Yeah, we're gonna do that one right there. And this is really just giving you an up close and personal look at the bride and groom here. We can warm this up a little bit, give it a little bit more yellow. So I'm just gonna hover over the yellow right up here, and then I'm just gonna hit the up arrow, just give it a couple notches of yellow. And that really just helps it out. Maybe that's a little too much. We're probably gonna go right about there. As you can tell, looking at the histogram up here, we're really overexposed in some areas here, right? So I'm going to bring down the highlights, trying to bring back what we're losing there here on the left side. See right there, that really helps. But then again, now I'm losing the kind of the glow on his face, so I'm going to bring that back. So we're just kind of getting like that glowy look in there. I'm pretty happy. Let's just check his face here. Looks pretty good. And then we want to scroll down to saturation. We might be able to come back up on this one. Yeah, that makes it feel more real. And then come down here to sharpening, and we just want to double check to see how nothing is really sharpened. There's like barely any white around them, the silhouette. So we're gonna bring this back this way, and now you can see that they're coming back into the picture here. We're gonna let go, and that's definitely gonna make them pop off the page. So that one is done. Moving on to the next. So again, same trick. We're just gonna go ahead and hit the previous button here. And it's just always a nice time saver. So obviously we have to crop it. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna use basically probably the whole image on this one. And I like that. I have the shoes in it. We're gonna go like that. Now again, the problem here is it's very orange. It's very yellow and really oversaturated for my style. So we're gonna bring this one down. Probably right about there. And then I might even come down here in the yellow. So I'm in the HSL area here, and I'm going to bring down the yellow for saturation. I'm just trying to bring that down because we don't want it to be too saturated. Okay, so we're gonna go with that there. And now let's check our sharpening again. So as you can tell, basically everything around them is sharpened, which we don't want. Let's try to go about there. I feel like that helped it. I do like this glowy red orange look. It just looks so good. Okay, one other trick that we're gonna do here is we're gonna add in basically like a glow coming from the right side, or where the sun is coming from here. The reason why I'm doing that is if you look at his jacket here, you can kind of see like there's this violet right here, and there's like he's got like this two-tone jacket. It just looks really strange and weird. The other option that we could do is we could do this, and I'll just show it to you quickly. We can come down in here to the magenta and the purple, and just like what I do with the yellows, we can drop the purples And you see how we can do that? Like I just completely changed that look right there, but now you can see like I got even like a weirder, so now I have like 3-tone. So we're gonna go ahead, Command Z that, because it just looks really strange. So the fix that I'm gonna do for this is I'm gonna hit the gradient tool up here and click and drag, and I really just want to hover over him. I just kind of make it look like there's a flood of sun coming in right here, okay? So let's go up in here to the gradient. I'm gonna bump up the exposure. It looks like the sun's coming right on through. And then I'm gonna bring up the yellows. 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna keep going. And almost to the point where it's going to make it look like it disappeared. Now it looks very yellow here, but it actually looks pretty natural. I'm pretty happy with that. It just looks like they were just walking off into the sunset. It's a really cool trick and it looks natural. So there's the before and there's the after. Okay, moving on to the next one. So again, we're gonna hit previous. And we do have the gradient on here right now. You can see it right there. I'm gonna go ahead and click it off because I really like this image. I might not even do anything to this one, but let's just go ahead and click it off, see what it does. I think I like it with it. So we're gonna leave it on. It just gives him a nice creamy tone to his suit there. It looks really good. So that one's good. And then we need to crop it. It looks like, actually that's about good right there. I would like to get all of her dress in it, but that looks pretty good. And then rotation. We're gonna go ahead and rotate this a tad that way. Let's see what it does. Yeah, that seems like that helped them out. All right, so there's the before, there's the after. That is an awesome shot. That wedding dress looks amazing there. So let's click up in here. It looks good. She looks good. And then we'll check the sharpening again. I think I'm going to come back this way so there's more, everything basically down in here sharpened. That looks pretty dang good. All right, let's move on to the next one. Very similar. This is just more like a candid shot. Okay, and then hitting previous. That just looks freaking sweet. Okay. So I'm going to bring back the rotation. As you notice, I hit previous, so it's doing exactly the same thing on the photo before. It's putting it on this one. So as you can tell, I was a little rotated on this one, so I just need to rotate it back a little bit. And I usually will use the line right here, like I'm using this horizon, to kind of give me a gauge on the actual like straightness of this photo. And that's just a little trick that I use. Right there. That looks pretty good. We have our whole dress in this one, which was what I was going for. Man, that looks really good before and after. I love the yellow glow. We can go here to the gradient. We just want to double check, see what we have going on here. If we were to take it off, just hit this box here. It's still pretty good, but this really just gives it a nice look. If we were to click and drag this way, you see how, wow, it's like, this is where I get so stuck on, you know, doing this type of stuff, because like, wow, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. But you can tell over here it's very yellow. It's definitely processed, but it's a cool looking style. I mean, it's pretty sweet. So we're gonna kind of come back in here. I do want some of that yellow on here. I think that looks pretty good. It just looks like an awesome sunset with that. So we're gonna do that. And really, guys, like, this is like, yeah, this is the picture I took, but really, like, that is like what it really looked like out there. So I'm really just helping out these photos here because it was an epic sunset that night. All right, moving on to the next one. And so we're gonna hit previous. Let's see what we got going on here. So I can tell the gradient filter is a little bit too much on here. There's just a lot of harsh yellow on this one. I might not even use it. Let's see. I kind of like it here in the trees, and it really does help his jacket. He's got a very, that gray is a blue for a gray, and this kind of just it just warms it up. I like it. So we're gonna do that, and then the crop tool. Let's see what we got going on here. You can kind of tell the horizon is it's going uphill this way, so I'm going to rotate it and just kind of do that. but no losing the dress. So I might just leave it right there so I can get most of her dress in the shot. I'm gonna go like that. That's awesome. And let's see. Yeah, I love it. You can tell it's a great looking shot. It still looks real, and that's the hard thing about editing photos is a lot of people can go down one side of the spectrum, and yeah, it's a cool picture, but you can tell it's very like over processed on the colors. And so it's, photo editing, especially in wedding photos, is there's this fine line, there's this balance where you need to make it look freaking amazing, but at the same time it's got to look real. And that's the goal and the style for what Crystal and I try to do. So really happy with that one. This field was just incredible, awesome colors, that cream color, that tan color. It just works so well. And then we have these cool trees here in the back. Luckily there's no black holes in those trees, which is a nightmare when you're taking photos, but these types of trees really work. Okay, moving on to the next one. Let's see here, previous. Yeah, that looks awesome. Okay, so we're just gonna drag them to the middle a little bit. I might try to center them a little bit more. So you see their heads here, like that's in the middle, right? Like that's what I'm using to gauge middle. Just like that. I like the blurred out grass that we have here. It just adds a cool texture and interest to the photo, and it really just makes you feel like you were standing out there in the grass looking right at them. And then the gradient, which I do have it here. Just click and drag it off is another way of doing it. Bringing it back. Wow, it helps for sure. Might bring the angle. So the thing here is the sun's actually coming from this way, how I was shooting this photo. So let's go. And so one thing to note about this is I have the gradient going from right to left, okay? So the thing about this picture is the sun is actually coming in from left to right. So take note that really I should have this flipped coming in from this way. What it's gonna do is it's really gonna add a lot of exposure and yellow on this side, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to balance out this photo so it all looks like it's one cohesive image, right? So I don't have too much yellow on one side and too much blue on one side, right? So I'm just trying to basically just even it out. So that is without the gradient, that's with it. You can kind of tell it definitely does a lot here in the grass. Probably gonna try to be right about there and bring this out there. And I'm really happy with that before and after. Okay, and the last photo that we have here is we're gonna go to previous. And now we can kind of tell that these colors here are really, really warm, almost too warm. I mean, it's a cool look, it's a cool style, but it's just a little too much. Okay, so my idea behind this picture is I was trying to get this grass here to really complement the dress, which I think it worked out great. I do see her dress, which I always like to get the tail of the dress in there. I had them centered like this, but it's cutting out the dress. So for break rule of thumb, I'm gonna go like this because I want the dress in here just like any bride would want. So we're gonna go like that. And then the gradient, I don't think the gradient is really needed since I'm shooting with the sun right behind them. Maybe I will. I do kind of like that. I'm just gonna fix the angle of it so it's not so much. You see how like it just like makes everything glow by adding that in there. And again, the angle of this gradient is where it needs to be. See, the sun's hitting her from right to left this way, and that's the same thing the gradient's doing. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of make it look like it's just glowing right off her back here, like that. Now, okay, so we just want to check the saturation. I'm just gonna bring this down just to show you, like, okay, this is what I'm working with. Let's kind of go. We're at -25. I mean, it looks good, but you can tell, like, overall, it's really yellow. So let's do this. We're gonna come up here to the temperature, and we're in the blue, but I'm gonna go more blue just to try to bring back some natural looking tones in here. And I'm just keep clicking until it feels right. That definitely helps it. He's not so yellow. She's not so yellow. I might just go back just a tad, like 2 clicks, and yeah. Alright, let's just double check our sharpening. So you can kind of tell everything seems like it's sharpened, so it's coming over this way. So now you kind of tell like they're standing out from the field, which is kind of what we're going for. That definitely helped it. And then you can always try to knock down the orange. You see how we did that? Now her skin and his skin is completely gone. We just took out the color completely. So Command Z that ain't gonna work. Let's try the red. Just bring down the red just a touch. I mean, we're just dropping just a little bit, but I gotta be careful with her skin because it looks like it's gonna start taking on from there as well. See how she's kind of rosy here, kind of blue rosy? She still is, it's just different. Okay, back out. And that looks pretty good. Now, the last thing that you can always do is I always like to hit V, which is going to give you a black and white version, which seems like it gives it a very natural look. That looks pretty good. The other option, we could try the AAA because we like that, but you can tell that definitely won't work. It's not too bad. Let's see. Angel, black and white. That one works pretty good, but I think with the way the preset is already made, that won't work. I always like to come up to black and white flat. Let's do this. I'm going to create a duplicate here. I'll create a virtual copy is what I'm really doing. And then I'm going to click on this. I'm going to hit reset. And then I'm going to come up here to flat. So you see flat is it's a very bold look, but it's a very like classic look, right? It just looks really good. And come down here to what we were working with before. So AAA, that's really cool. It's very bright. I'd have to bring down the highlights on that one. Angel, black and white. Wow, that one's even more than I thought it would be. But that's not a bad look. It's very Selenium style. So I think I'm gonna land on the flat with this one, and it just got a cool, dreamy look to it. Alright guys, so that's it. That's how you edit these photos here using Lightroom. This is how we go through the process of doing our wedding photography. We love what we do. We love helping our clients and providing with some exceptional photos. From here we just export it and then we save them and we put them on backups and another backup just to be sure we don't lose them. And guys, that's it. If you got any questions for me or if you're curious to know about these presets, let me know. I don't mind handing these out. So with that, have an awesome day.